as we'll play this one out a little bit, right? Did have the Monsters theme going. But I love all of you. And best friends, what are we, 3, 7, 12? I don't know. And 12, 3, 7, 12, bunch. Okay, so, enough of my madness. The other big thing in the news today is that New York City is finally in phase 1. Which really means nothing has changed, and unless you're a construction worker. Yay? I don't know. But, enough about that. I meant to play the Monsters theme. I did play the Monsters theme, and then it switched over to Deo. So, I don't know what happened. But, the reason for that is today is Monster Monday. Why is it Monster Monday? Because I have the one and only Butch Patrick, a.k.a. Eddie Munster, who was the kid. If you don't remember the Munsters, I'm sorry, you missed out on a good time. But, alrighty then. Let's bring him on. Let's find him and bring him on. And I'm wearing makeup, which is more than some people can say. Alright, well, where is he? I don't see him. Let's see. Hold on a moment. Let's get him on. Margaret, I have a show, so I'm gonna wear makeup. These things happen. But, meanwhile, I'll wave hi to you guys. Some of you guys, because I can't wave hi to all of you for some reason. I don't know how Instagram works. I've yet to figure it out myself. Let's see. Can I bring him on? Is he here? Oh, there he is. Oh, excellent. Who am I, Wayne's World? So anyway, I'm wearing a love shirt because I went to a protest today and figured I'd spread the love. And then I've also got like these crazy skull shorts on because, well, we're doing a Monsters show tonight. That's probably one of the funniest shows of all time, actually. A lot of 60s shows are really funny. Hi, Angel.
Hey, there you are.
Hey, there you are. Hi, Butch. How's it going? Look, you only get to see, like, me from the chin up. That's awesome. I'll sit back. And you're frozen, and it's going to take a second. And feel free to ask questions while this whole thing is frozen. I hear you. Okay, there you are. But now I don't hear you.
You don't hear me?
Now I hear you. Okay, we're all in sync. Yay.
Wasn't talking.
Everybody's saying hi to you. They're saying hi to me. It's amazing. It's a party.
Good. All right, there we are.
All right. How are you doing today? How's your day going?
Hi, darling. You?
Not too shabby. Can't complain. We're in phase 1 here in New York City. Again, that means really nothing.
Yeah.
Unless you're a construction worker.
It's crazy.
My roots are going to stay as dark as this, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah. See, I got to get my camera. Let me see. Where am I at here? I got to get my camera, like, hold on a second. Let me do something here. All right. Fix this a little bit. There. That's better. There.
Awesome. So I wore bat earrings for the occasion because I actually got them. They're part of my Halloween jewelry, and I was like, ooh, bat earrings. That kind of goes with the Munsters.
Cool.
So, actually I stumbled upon the pilot last night because I was just trying to look up old episodes to refresh my memory of how funny the show used to be and how they use all these, like, funny lines like I've got to scare up the rent.
Yeah, it's a good old show. A lot of good stuff back in the 60s.
Yeah. I remember, but they had so many shows that were, like, pre-goth, predate the whole, like, I don't want to call it a movement because they're not really doing anything to further or anything other than, I don't know, their own good times. But there were so many like goth kinds of TV shows back then, including the Munsters, the Addams Family. Um, there was that one. Okay, I can't remember what it's called, but it was like Dark Shadows. Was it like?
There was Dark Shadows, and there was a lot of shows that were based in non-reality spins, like My Favorite Martian I did, and Mr. Ed. I did a couple Mr. Eds, and Bewitched, I Dream a Genie. A lot of great comedy shows that were just there for just to make people laugh, that had no basis in reality whatsoever, but it was good for comedy.
Right. I mean, I remember seeing the Munsters in more of like more in syndication because I was born in the 70s, and
You're young.
yeah,
Yeah.
for once. Anyway, I always feel like I'm the old one in the room, but anyway, yeah. So when I used to watch that. One of the great things about your character Eddie was that like he was a kid on the show, and like so many shows now. I mean, there are plenty of reasons for this, and I know I've heard them all, so I get it. But as a kid who, growing up, it was great to see like a kid on a show, and not just make it all about the adults.
I get a lot of there were a lot of shows that featured children. Leave It to Beaver, Dennis the Menace, Lassie, Timmy and Lassie. But the Munsters was good. They wrote a lot of good scripts that featured Herman and Eddie because I was always volunteering my dad to do stuff, and he never wanted to disappoint his son. So it made for some funny situations, and they ran with it, and they wrote a lot of father and son scripts, which was good for me.
Right.
And for the viewer.
Yeah, for sure. And the one thing that was fun, people compare like the Addams Family and the Munsters. Somebody has a question. My friend Margaret has a question. Have you? I'll get back to what I was saying in a second though. Have you ever heard of the kids movie Mad Monsters Ball? Sorry, Mark. Anyway, so one of the interesting things was that like the Munsters were actually like a monster family that were normal. Meanwhile, the Addams Family were like a normal family that was weird.
Yeah, they were dark. They were dark and edgy, and the Munsters were very Leave It to Beaver with makeup.
Yeah, basically, and a niece called Marilyn.
Term wants to differentiate between the two shows is very simple. The Addams Family were monsters that looked like people, and the Munsters were people who looked like monsters.
That's right. That's great.
Says it all.
Do you think that like your character would have ended up dating Wednesday had the show gone on? Me and Lisa Loring actually dated for a while, so yeah. We used to go around the country, and we actually had a mock wedding in a really bitchin' club in Pittsburgh about 20 years ago. The place was called Heaven, and I met the guy, and I said, "What are you doing for Halloween?" I go, "I got a perfect promotion for you. A match made in heaven. Eddie Munster marries Wednesday Addams." And he loved the idea. We had 5,000 people show up. We had rings. We had the Pope. The guy dressed up as the Pope married us. It was funny. That's amazing. But like, so you still act, right?
What I do, yes, I do. I don't go on auditions, but if my schedule and a filmmaker's schedule can coincide and coordinate somehow, I always like to try to help the young filmmakers out there, and sometimes the old filmmakers as well. But I don't have an agent, and I don't go on the interview process anymore.
I don't blame you. I don't even like I act also, but the idea, I'm like, if somebody asks me to do something, I'll do it.
And it's a hobby. Yeah, I mean, it's like I have a thing right now. I told the guys that, it's he wants to fly me into Houston for a day's work, which is fine. And I told him, I said, I know you guys, you're going to say you don't have much money. I get it, low budget movie. But, to me, it's a 3-day turnaround. It's a day of travel to get there. It's a day to work, and it's a day to come back. So, just because you don't have any money doesn't mean that I have to go 3 days for $500. It's not fair. So
Right.
I try to accommodate them whenever possible, and I travel a lot. Well, I was traveling a lot prior to this mess, but
Right.
normally when I'm crisscrossing the country, people see my schedule, and a lot of times I can drop in and do something as I'm touring, which makes it very affordable for the independent filmmaker.
So when you're touring, you do like a lot of not I guess they're not festivals. What are they like? Well, I guess like festivals or whatever.
What I do is I specialize in automotive events. I have a Munster coach, and I have a big 34-foot trailer with a 14-foot escape room, a Munster-themed escape room in the front. 2 rooms. One looks like the grandpa's dungeon and laboratory, and the other room looks like the living room with the organ and the fireplace. And what I do is I set up shop with the car myself. People walk through the trailer. They go through the escape room experience, and I work with like you say, festivals and townships. I've done big stuff, little stuff, in between stuff. But right now, when I get back out on the road, we're going to be doing a lot of smaller markets to help get people back up on their feet again, small businesses and stuff, because they've been decimated by this whole pandemic thing. So we've discounted our prices to where we're going to try to make it affordable for everybody, and come in and do a lot of drive-in theaters and do a lot of movie screenings, because I have a new the Munsters Go Home DVD, but Blu-ray came out recently, and Rob Zombie and I did the commentary on it. So it'd be cool to do like a drive-in theater with the Munster coach up in front with a bunch of custom cars, like a car club up in front, and then show the movie, and then let people pull their cars up to the coach and take a photo op, because we can't actually interact with people, so it's a social distancing thing for temporary, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, and it sounds it sounds rather magnanimous of you to want to help out all these smaller towns that are pretty much impoverished because of the pandemic.
Well, I also have a YouTube channel called Coach to Coast with a K, like the Munster Coach. And because I travel extensively, we've got, I think I've got 18 segments up right now. I had to slow down because we haven't been traveling. But I'm really proud of my Coach to Coast channel, where we feature interesting things along the way, small town America, backstories of people that you normally wouldn't see. Very much like Charles Kuralt used to do for CBS in his motorhome back in the 70s and 80s. So that's a fun thing to do too. So the combination of the two things, with the pandemic coming out and the Coach to Coast YouTube channel, I keep my boots on the ground, and I enjoy it. I'm actually a member of a car club in New Jersey that we do a big car show every Labor Day in Mahwah, which I know you're in New York, so you're not too far away.
Right. So I'd have to come to that sometime.
Yeah.
Or do something in LA. I go to LA a lot too, which
check out Dead Man's Curve Car Club. It's the best car club in the country.
And that's in Jersey. That's in Mahwah.
Well, yeah. Well, that's where we have our event. Our Wild Hot Rod Weekend is always at the Mahwah Sheridan, but the club is actually down in Montville.
Okay, I know where that is actually. I had a friend from there in college, funnily enough.
Yeah. Look us up.
When would that have been? That's probably not happening, I guess, right?
What was that?
Is that going to happen this year, or?
Yeah, we plan on it. We're hoping. Things have changed, but at this point in time, we had this thing, the whole thing for the pandemic under control, and now the protests have stepped in and created a new wrinkle into everything, so it's hard to say. To say. Crazy times.
Indeed. Well, you experienced this growing up, I'm sure, because you grew up in the 60s, right?
I did. I think a lot of the people out here protesting right now are feeling like they missed out on something that their grandparents did, and they're trying to relive it.
That may be.
It's as good as explanation as anything else.
Works for me.
Okay.
I mean, that's what protest. I mean, I go to protests, and I've always gone to protests for something or another. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of like, people didn't protest en masse like this until the 60s.
I just got lucky that I happened to come visit my sister, and I'm down in Manhattan Beach, and I came out on the 13th. They closed the country on the 16th of March. I was only supposed to be here a week, and I've been here. We're coming up on 88 days. So it's like, oh gosh.
a lot of people, actually I was supposed to visit my parents down in Delray Beach in Florida, and I didn't go because I was like, my mother's like, yeah, you could end up stuck here. I'm like, and with my parents. Okay, I don't know about all that. So, oh look, there's one of my best friends right now just joined. That's awesome. Today's Best Friends Day, Rika. So, I mentioned you. Anyway, so, what do you call it? I, yeah, so I didn't go there, but I know people that ended up going. Like, one of my friends went to Memphis and is still down there and has no idea when she's going to get back up to Brooklyn.
No, that's crazy. It's very interesting. It's unfortunate situation, but it's a very interesting observation of the world is where it's going and where it's heading and how things are going to work out. It's a crazy time to be alive. I mean, I'm really glad I was born in '53. I'm old enough to have seen a little bit of the '50s, all of the '60s and '70s, and observed decade after decade after decade of weird stuff. And this is about the weirdest.
Yeah, and it's like, at least with the 60s, there was really good music.
You know what?
At least with the 60s, there was really good music, and now...
TV and movies, oh yeah. I worked in 1960 to 74 very actively in the business, and it was a really good time to be around Hollywood. And, it was also a good time if you liked to party. The parties were the best. Everything was pretty much acceptable behavior up to a point, up to a fault sometimes. But I grew up near the beach, muscle cars and surfing and motorcycles, and it was I wouldn't trade my childhood for anybody's.
So, like, did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I did, and that was exactly where I was at. My girlfriend lived at the top of the Laurel Canyon. I got my license on August 2nd. Bought one new car. I started dating in March of that year. My first real girlfriend, and so it was like love, Mustangs, the music scene and the canyon. If you haven't seen Echoes in the Canyon, check that out. It's a show about the music scene and the movie. Very much that was every scene in that movie I can relate to. My aunt's maiden name at that time was Spawn, and the old man Spawn Ranch was her dad. And my uncle had a ranch next door for horses and Western props. Mm-hmm. So not only was I out there close to Manson, the summer of '69 was when he went berserk and everybody was getting killed, and we were up in the hills right near where it was all happening. Nuts.
That's pretty great. Yeah, that had to have been like. It's kind of amazing to live through that.
Somebody put a post up today. They were talking about comparing Kurt Cobain to Jim Morrison of the Doors, and I said, I can't speak for the Seattle grunge scene in the '90s, but I find it very difficult that '60s period in Hollywood and the music and the movies, and how anything could ever be that intense and that shaping the world. It was crazy.
Did you find though, like being in the movies at that time, like you saw how like Leonardo DiCaprio's character was trying to transition from kind of more glamour to the kind of renegade scene that was happening.
Yeah.
Did you find that in the movies as well?
I'll tell you what happened to me is that when I was September of '69, I just turned 16, and I took a friend up to an interview, and the producer spotted me when he walked out of the office and asked me to come in and read this part. I wasn't even supposed to be there. I just had given him a write-up. I wound up getting the part. 3 days later, I was in Brazil for 3 months with no teacher and no supervision, no mom, no teacher. All I had to do was show up for work in Brazil in 1969 as a 16-year-old kid with $300 a week per diem, which was like a huge amount of money in another country. My sister, I'm coming up on 10 years of sobriety, but early into my sobriety, when she would come to my meetings, she told the people that I left as Richie Cunningham, and I came back 3 months later as John Lennon.
That's awesome.
So that was my introduction to the wild and crazy times.
I'll bet. So, like, what were some of your favorite bands? Having to grow. You got to actually grow up with like the Who and the Beatles, of course.
First time, Jimi Hendrix. And the
He
Beatles
was
came
my
to
favorite.
I did a Monkees Christmas show, and the band that I saw the most was Led Zeppelin. The band that I really liked at first, when I first saw it, was Alice Cooper. I saw Alice Cooper back in '70 when he was just starting out. I drove Iggy Pop to the Whiskey A Go Go because his limo didn't show up at the Continental Hyatt House. I was hanging around Danny Sugarman, who was the manager of the Doors. Um, I saw Bette Midler in her first appearance ever at the Troubadour. I saw Billy Joel in his first. I saw him actually in the Hamptons in a bar playing piano before Piano Man came out. So
That's amazing.
it was cool stuff. Yeah.
Well, that makes you think of, I just saw Rocket Man the other day, and how Elton John plays the Troubadour for like the first time.
Yeah. It was the last couple of years have been good for Bohemian Rhapsody and Yesterday and Rocket Man and The Blinded by the Light were all good movies. I was probably enjoyed, even though Yesterday didn't get really great reviews. I liked it. I thought it was good, but the Bohemian Rhapsody was definitely a superior movie.
Yeah, that was, well, it got the Oscar, so yeah, I saw that too, and it was just, I definitely saw that. I'm not like a super Queen historian. I live in Queens, but like Queen historian. But I like there was just like, I guess the one part with the whole Live Aid thing, there was something that I was like, no, that didn't happen then, and that was like the only thing that I picked up on. But then, everybody's blasting all over social media. Well, this was wrong and that was wrong. I'm like, I can't hear any more of this. I can't listen to so much of this.
Sometimes social media can just be its own worst enemy. It's great. It has a lot of good points to it, but at the same time, a lot of times not everybody has to have a voice.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes silence is actually better. I am very quiet on a lot of fronts, and I stay out of it because it's just, first of all, it's by choice, and number two is you can't please everybody, and no matter what you try to do, you find yourself defending yourself a lot. So I admire and I applaud you for doing what you do, because I try to make myself available to big and small shows, because I appreciate the amount of effort that people put into them. But at the same time, I admire your strength and your fearless approach to doing things, because this opens you up to the world.
Well, I saw other people doing it, and I thought, hey, you know what? I could start a great talk show and have some great guests like yourself.
Yeah, you never know. I do it because, number one, it's fun. You meet characters, you meet people. Number two, you never know who's going to be watching. You never know. I have networked for 30 or 40 years. One of the reasons I do it is you just never know where the next thing is going to come from, what door's going to open. It's incredible. And one of the neat things is I'm always well received, because they don't know me from Adam when I'm walking around, which is fine. But they all love the Munsters. They all love Eddie Munster as a character. And it's brought a lot of joy to a lot of people. So when you can interact with someone that you've been a part of their extended family, even though you didn't know them, they knew you. It's like having a huge family of friends. It's like almost like a reunion of sorts when you go back and you start talking to people about it, because it's meant so much to so many people that they watch them with their grandparents. They've got these great memories of years gone by, and it's like, and then kids today watch it and they enjoy it. So we're good. We're good to go for another 30 or 40 years. I'll be pushing up daisies, but the show will be around.
But well, at least there's that. I guess like shows. I grew up. It was always you guys and the Brady Bunch, and it was funny because like there were and the Addams Family, of course. But like, of course. But like all these shows, there are like a million shows. Well, I guess I Dream of Jeannie, and what's the other one? My favorite Martian, I don't remember seeing a single episode of. I might have to go on YouTube and
look it up. It's a good one. It's Bill Bixby's first series. Ray Walston. Very funny stuff. I was in the first season. I played a little kid that believed in Martians, and I spotted the spaceship. I was just in Vegas recently. David Copperfield's a big collector of 60s stuff and magic stuff, and he had bought the spaceship from My Favorite Martian, and he wasn't aware that I was on the show. He was really jealous because he's a big fan of 60s TV. And he bought a lot of Munster stuff as well. But my favorite show when I was a kid was Mr. Ed, because I just thought Talking Horse was just too funny.
I think I've only seen like one or two episodes of it. I've never seen, or maybe not even an entire one. I have to go back. I mean, I remember at one point they were showing it on like Nickelodeon and also TBS, but then both those networks decided to just get more current. And that was
you're like 35 years old, right?
Thank you, but no.
No.
Sure. I'm 35 and I was born in the 70s. Anyway.
But yeah, the old show. It's one of the things about the Munsters is so cool because it was one of a kind show, very popular. Howard Stern loves it. Rob Zombie loves it. Paul McCartney used to smoke joints to watch reruns of the Munsters to relax. So it's got this great, great, cool following. We had good music. We had cool cars. We had great guest stars. We had a cool house to live in. A lot of fun special effects. And it's a timeless show that people. And recently, there's a little statement that Herman told Eddie about character and don't judge a book by its cover, whether what color you are, or if you're fat or thin or tall, which went viral apparently because of all the civic unrest. And I've just been inundated with Fox News and this and this and this, all wanting comments about this 55-year-old clip that Herman spoke to Eddie about. With the values of the size of your heart and the strength of your character, which is funny that 55 years later, it's a timely, it's a pertinent current event thing because values are values and family and strength is strength and it never goes away.
That's right. I agree with that. So let me ask you this, Butch. Once all this nonsense is over and we have the pandemic out of the way, we're at stage 4 or whatever stage we need to be to live our lives somewhat normally. What are your plans?
My plans are because I like to travel around, my plan is to get a really vintage motor coach, big diesel pusher, really nice one. I'm going to put the Munster coach behind it. I'm going to not take my escape room because there's not enough room. I'm going to go around and I'm going to start going to high-end RV parks. And I'm going to interview people who are retired and on the road and enjoying the RV lifestyle and ask them what they did with their life and what they found to be exciting and make it very much of an Americana of the everyday guy who happens to be traveling around in a motor coach. Then that, with enough YouTube followers and subscribers, that will finance my next endeavor, which will be in 2021 or 2022, a global tour going around and seeing some interesting things. And I've been to 4 continents, but I'd like to get to all of them. And there's a few things I would like to see. I'm going to be 67 in 2 months. So by the time I hit 70, I plan on seeing basically everything I want to see, the big ticket items, and then I'll work my way down to the smaller ticket items. But traveling. I plan on traveling a lot and doing my bucket list. I drove an IndyCar this year. I flew in a B-24 Liberator. I did Transylvania. I'm going to be going. I did the Beetle thing in Liverpool a couple years ago, so that was good. Knocked that one off. But stuff like that.
Cool. Well, all right. Be sure to follow. Tell me.
A coach, 2 co's. And if you notice something behind me, my sister's nice enough to put me up. This is called Keys to My Castle. I'm going to show you a couple things. See this? That's a house key. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That's a house key.
That's awesome.
And if you like fairies, there's a fairy house key. Look at that.
Hey, they grant wishes, right? Or do things? I don't know.
And if you go to Keys to My Castle, you can find 170 types of these front door or office keys that make a perfect gift. And here's one of the more popular ones, Queen's Crown.
Nice.
And I told her I would come up in the office and plug her. Oh, here's one. You'll like this one. I bet you'll like this one. This is probably the best one so far.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a cool one. So anyway, there's a company called Keys to My Castle. And I won't get in. I'm also a spokesperson for Rise CBD Botanicals for wellness from within because of all this people with the COVID-19 and all the immune system stuff. A lot of times you need to take care of yourself more so now than ever because it ain't going away.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I do. I travel around. I'm very blessed and very lucky to have a fan base that loves the show, and I figured out a way to go do what I enjoy, which is driving cool cars and hanging around with other people in cool cars. So I've been very lucky.
Yes, you have.
And I love the way you came up with your fun names. That's why I'm doing the show. I enjoyed the serendipity. I thought that was very cute and witty.
This is what I call a serendipity production.
There you go.
That's because I thought, like, I once saw like serendipity. I'm like, that's boring. It could be serendipity.
Oh, it's good. It's very funny. I love little plays on words like that. That's what I do. It's like my book that I wrote wasn't a coffee table book. It was a coffin table book. You know? Stuff like that.
Check out the book, everyone.
And you would say cheese? No, you don't say cheese. You say Munster cheese.
That's great.
Thank you.
Well, all right. That's all the time we have for the show tonight. Thank you so much, Butch, for coming on and speaking with me. You've been watching this. Please follow Butch on Instagram. It should be showing up or whatever. And yes, you've been watching the Share and Share Alike show, and this has been a Serendipity production. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great night.
I love it. Munsters.com. There you go.
Monsters.com.
Bye.